So WWE's King and Queen of the Ring is in the books. My dog is getting up to go to her bed right now.
That doesn't look comfortable.
So it's time to once again look at your hot takes, and then I react to those hot takes, and we can talk about the show that way. If you want my full podcast length review, it's available right now over at the Going in Raw channel. It's youtube.com/Steve and Larson. No poets allowed, says ladder match for custody of Dominic. I saw this graphic up on Twitter. I don't know who made it. It was pretty funny. And yeah, it seems to be that's kind of how it's heading right now. Liv Morgan getting the help from Dominic Mysterio. Now, whether or not it's going to turn out that Dom actually helped Liv on purpose, acting like he was doing it on accident, trying to help out Becky Lynch, remains to be seen. Dominic has always been a very easily manipulated character, so I kind of feel like either he was trying to help out Becky and then Liv is going to say thanks and sort of take him under her wing because he can't really help himself, or he's in cahoots with her the entire time. We saw earlier in the week or last week or whatever it was, Liv in the same car as Finn Balor, so it seems clear that they're probably going to end up kicking Damian Priest at a Judgment Day, and Liv's going to take over in Rhea's absence, and then it's more likely going to be like custody of Judgment Day up on a ladder as opposed to just Dominic. In the meantime, it seems like Priest is about to hit rock bottom because it was also announced that Drew McIntyre is getting his title shot at Clash of the Castle. He's probably going to win that title there because Drew McIntyre will not lose in Scotland. Richard8257 says LA Knight should have been the guy that cost Logan the match instead of the guest Saudi ring announcer. Yeah, this Saudi guest ring announcer has become sort of a tradition there in Saudi Arabia, so I'm not shocked they give him that spot. But they have been teasing a Logan Paul LA Knight situation, and I kind of wonder if the idea that they didn't give that spot to LA Knight is because they want to hold off until SummerSlam, where LA Knight can win that US title off Logan Paul. If they had him, it's like tugging at Logan Paul during this match. I kind of feel like that would necessitate a match sooner than August, which is still another, 3 months away, I guess. What are we in, May? August is okay, yeah, we're 3 months away from that. So I kind of feel like they're going to want to give Logan Paul another couple title defenses before we move right on to LA Knight. I could be wrong about that, but it feels like maybe that's the reason why LA Knight wasn't the guy to cost Logan Paul this match. The Big Cringe says the lack of any Damian Priest for this shows that Dominic should have been the one in his spot. He brings so much heat everywhere, and even in the small role he played on the show, would have been elevated with his world title win. I don't know. Look, I was advocating a long time ago when they first did that World Heavyweight Championship tournament. I was advocating Dominic to win that kind of for the same reason, but since then, he's sort of reproven himself to be a guy who's just not he doesn't have a lot of strength of character, right? And so I kind of think that you'd be making that title even weaker than it is with Damian Priest. At least lately, they've been booking Damian Priest as a pretty strong character. It's just, they're not giving him a whole lot to do. It's sort of between him and Bayley as to who's sort of underwhelming the most after winning their respective world titles at WrestleMania. I thought Damian Priest cash-in was awesome, but since then, there's been like entire episodes of Raw where he's just the most forgettable thing. In my opinion, they can't get that title off him quick enough. And hopefully they'll do something so dramatic with Judgment Day that'll really propel Damian Priest up there. I'm thinking that maybe, just maybe at SummerSlam, Gunther will get his match for the world title against Drew McIntyre, but maybe it'll be a fatal four-way. You throw CM Punk in there, maybe. You throw Damian Priest in there for his rematch. And then maybe you got like a really killer fatal four-way, and then you move on to Berlin, and Gunther gets his one-on-one there. It's a messy world title scene though right now, and unfortunately right now they have not been booking Damian Priest the same way they have been with Cody Rhodes. They're supposed to be titles on respective brands, sort of on par with each other, and the Intercontinental Championship feels like a bigger deal on Raw than its own world championship, and that's kind of an issue. But as far as Dominic having that title, it's a cool idea, and maybe it'd be more interesting. But like, I just don't feel that from Dom right now. On top of that, he's injured. Elemental Giant says not only is Nia Jax Triple H's best rehire, but she is one of the best free agent signings in the last few years. Elemental Giant, that's actually, that could be kind of a cool idea for a video. Although I think I don't know. Did I do that before? It might be an interesting idea to revisit the best, sorry, that was my dog. The best free agents that Triple H have rehired and where they are now. Because it's like Karrion Kross is kind of doing a whole lot of nothing. Bronson Reed was in the match tonight to eat the pin. Nia Jax, though, she is on a hell of a run. That match tonight was awesome, especially the finish. Just the Annihilator out of nowhere. Who would have thought you could do an Annihilator out of nowhere? I thought that was really, really cool. But yeah, it does turn out that she is becoming probably one of, if not the top free agent rehire in the Paul Levesque era. I know I'm probably missing somebody else, and you guys are going to light up my comments and be like, what about this guy? And I'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, good point. Guardian Ape says, if it wasn't for the online sweaties being in love with Liv, then she would not be champion right now. No disrespect to her, but she isn't champ material and always be a transitional champ. Say champ another time, Guardian Ape. I don't think I agree with this. But I could see why some people will be like, well, there's like Liv stands out there who are just kind of crazy. I do feel like WWE sees something in Liv Morgan. And I know I'm going to get lit up in the comments by the Liv stands right now. But I feel like WWE sees something in her that they want to explore using that world title, using the Rhea Ripley thing. It's going to be interesting if she ends up, for example, taking over Judgment Day, kicking Priest out and taking over the entire faction. It's going to be interesting if that makes her character more interesting. Creative needs to come up with something really solid for her. Her promos have been getting better. She's developed quite well in the ring as well. WWE seems to see that thing in her that they think they can make a bunch of money off of. So hopefully it works out. I'm on board for now. I'm not sure how much time I'll give it before I'll just be like, yeah, no, I don't see it. It's not going to happen. But I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I think Paul Levesque kind of knows what he's doing. The real TJP says, King Gunther, but Orton's shoulders were not on the mat. Yeah, of course, everybody's talking about Randy Orton, the finish of that match, Randy Orton's shoulders being on the mat. Triple H afterwards on social media said, I saw what everybody else saw, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to run this back, but the referee's decision is final, which is ironic coming from him. But yeah, it was, man, let's talk about the finish of that Gunther-Randy Orton match. Gunther kicked out of an RKO because Randy Orton couldn't get his foot down because his leg was so damaged he couldn't get that pin there. And I thought that was an incredibly strong move for WWE to give Gunther that kind of ability, that kind of power. You always think about who's power ranked, who can kick out of big moves, who can initiate those big moves. It is clear they are not letting up on the gas with Gunther since that Intercontinental Championship loss. I thought for sure, given that the title match would be, the title is on the line at SummerSlam for whoever wins King of the Ring, I thought for sure Randall Keith Orton would go ahead and win this King of the Ring. But man, they seem to love Gunther. Gunther's the go-ahead guy. He's the King of the Ring. Didn't put that crown on his head, but that's all right. It makes me wonder, Triple H's words, it seems like they're going to do this in a rematch, in which case, I guess Randy Orton's going to lose 2 in a row to Gunther. Or maybe he's just saying, hey, at some point, maybe we'll go ahead and get around back to that. I don't know. It'd be kind of weird if they just had Randy Orton. Unless this was the plan. This couldn't have been the plan. It was just a botched finish, I think. Sadzilla says, people who were hoping Uncle Howdy would show up in Saudi, I ask why. So there was like another QR code. It seems like right now at this point, Uncle Howdy is sort of gathering his troops. He's like writing these letters to people and he's recruiting them across the country, I guess. Looks like it's going to be Nikki Cross, Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacy, and one other person I'm forgetting. Maybe Alexa Bliss, which is cool. I'm going to give this thing the benefit of the doubt. Half of you in the comments here were like, yay, no Uncle Howdy in Saudi. And a bunch of you were like, nay, I really wanted to see Uncle Howdy. So it's going to be interesting to see if his debut, or his return, I should say, the debut of this faction, is going to be as divisive for the general fan base as it seems to be right here in the WrestleJuice community. Remains to be seen. There is some evidence to suggest that the date June 17th was somewhere in all this stuff, which would be the Monday after Clash at the Castle, the Raw after Clash at the Castle. So maybe that's going to be where we see Uncle Howdy make his debut, return, whatever you want to call it. The question becomes then, who is he going to feud with first? Which brand is he going to sign with? I hope they do a little bit where Aldis and Pierce are both like trying to recruit Uncle Howdy, but Uncle Howdy's like, nah, man, I need top dollar around here. I'm talking about money, not the wrestler. Cam Popplestone says, the people complaining about Cody not having in-depth feuds post-WrestleMania don't understand what they're talking about. As this show proved that we're currently establishing what Cody is like as a champion and his character's growth before the next big story kicks in, and it's the right way to go. I will say this. You gotta have the peaks and valleys, man. You gotta have like the lulls before it gets big time again. I'm assuming they're still going to go with Randy Orton versus Cody at SummerSlam because Randy Orton is a big enough name. They have a ton of history. So I feel like that's going to be that match at SummerSlam. And then once we start ramping back up, I don't know when Roman Reigns is going to come back. I don't know when the final boss is going to come back. Happy birthday to Roman Reigns, by the way. But yeah, I get the feel. So here's the thing. Once you get to SummerSlam, once you start moving towards like Money in the Bank, which Randy Orton could win there. Once you start getting to SummerSlam, then you probably want to do more of a prolonged feud. Is Cody Rhodes going to lose to Randy Orton at SummerSlam? No, of course not. But the one thing that WWE, that Triple H in particular, has been able to do is to at least give us some seed of doubt in our mind. He did that a couple times with him and Vince did that a couple times with Roman Reigns, where it was like, oh, wait a second, Roman could lose to this guy. Remember Drew McIntyre Clash at the Castle against Roman Reigns? Didn't happen there, but I remember thinking at the time, man, this could be the time. And then once it didn't happen, it sort of became obvious that it was going to be a long ways off. That being said, I feel like a feud with Randy Orton, they can make us believe, right? When Logan Paul got that near fall on Cody Rhodes at this pay-per-view, at this premium live event, nobody in the crowd bought it. Nobody in the crowd was like, oh my God, I thought that was going to be it. Logan Paul did the whole shocked face thing, but nobody in the crowd actually believed it. You got to get the crowd to the point where they believe this could happen. So I want to see them try to craft a story around Randy Orton that leads us to believe this guy could actually do it. I'll be honest with you. Might not be a terrible idea to have Randy Orton win that title off Cody Rhodes. That'd be more interesting. You can turn Randy heel. Sure, people will boo him. That's going to happen. Oh, man, the Wallinator says Gunther versus Orton was worse than Uso versus Uso. The match moved at a glacial pace, overstayed its welcome, and the screwy finish made both guys look bad, especially after they revealed it wasn't a botch. Holy shit, this is a take. Worse than Jimmy versus Jay? My man, no, it wasn't. No, the finish wasn't that bad. Come on now. What are you talking about? Jamie X says Tama Tonga is just Samoan Butch. Yeah, you're kind of right there. Mark Falala says, here's a hot take. I pay $50 for AEW pay-per-views, but won't watch WWE for free because I have Peacock. What? General M. Bison says, show was totally skippable. All right. Look, they set up 2 number 1 contenders for world title matches at SummerSlam, and they crown a new women's world champion. From a storyline perspective, I don't know if I can call that skippable, but hey, to each their own. I personally enjoy these short 2 hours and 45 minute long shows, 2 hours and 50 minute long shows. I'm cool with it. 5 matches for these non-Big 5 pay-per-views. I'm about it, man. I think it's pretty cool. Anyways, that's it for hot takes. If you have more of them, drop them in the comments below. Maybe I'll read them. Maybe I won't. I don't know. The show's done with. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Do me a solid. Hit that thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. And then head over to the Going In Raw channel and check out the podcast review over there. We'll see you guys around.